Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Shara Downey, and I am here on Bombshell 1111 to drop some bombs.
Welcome back, everybody, to Bombshell 1111 podcast, where we bring the boom to your mental health and personal development. Tune in tonight, you guys, as we dive into an impactful conversation and drop mind-blowing tips to help you level up in your life. We'll be diving into a powerful conversation with Dr. Shara titled "From Breakdown to Breakthrough: Mental Health Side of Resilience." So, without further ado, bombshells, let's get right into it. Welcome, Dr. Shara. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well.
Thank you so much for coming on and being part of the podcast. So, down below in the description box, I'll have, of course, your bio, a little bit about you and who you are and where you're from. But I'd like for the listening audience to hear that from you guys. So, can you give us a short description about who you are, where you're from, what you do?
Thank you. That seems it seems crazy, but I am a Canadian chiropractor working and living in Singapore, and so blessed to be overseas. I have 4 kids, and I run about 3 different clinics and own a separate business for speaking and coaching.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we are over here in the US. So, thank you for coming on. Um, so, Dr. Shara, you face unimaginable challenges from surviving childhood trauma and the 9/11 attacks to parenting through, your son's serious battles, in which I know you'll talk about a bit throughout the podcast. When you reflect on all of that, how has your definition of resilience changed over time, and what does it look like in your day-to-day life today?
Wow, thank you for asking. As younger people in our lives, a lot of our strategy and survival technique, and even just ways we process life, definitely comes from those around us, our parents, our teachers, coaches, if you will. And as a young person, I was very driven and a perfectionist and wanted to do really, really well at things. So a lot of times you don't give room for flexibility. It's this way or that way. It's my way or the highway. And so with mental challenges or any challenges you face at any moment in time, it can actually break you down a bit further because you don't give room for a third option. It's either you have to have, I'm going to do it this way or it didn't happen. And it's yes or no or positive or negative, but there's no room so much for a new way. And I feel as I've gotten older, and definitely since I've had children, because they think out of the box and they think very differently to us, you have to be open to a third way. And flexibility and the ability to take a step or a pause so that you're open to a new creative solution have been the biggest ways I've sort of leaned into life now, how I'm kind of working through, let's say, challenges at the moment. Whereas as a younger person, I was pretty rigid, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. So many parents feel isolated and powerless when their children face complex health or developmental challenges. Um, can you walk us through some of the toughest moments you've had in your journey and what kept you grounded when everything around you felt like it was falling apart?
That's wow, that's a great question as well. As a parent, we don't know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm.
we're just as new at being a parent as that child is new to the world. And I'm across the world. I don't have family. I grew up in the church, so I had a very large faith-based community around me. I don't
Oh,
have that as much where I live right now. And so I found parenting initially quite challenging in that respect because what I would normally go to as a resource wasn't here. And I now live in a culture who has a completely different perspective about parenting. Now,
mm-hmm.
in the end, that turns out to be quite a blessing because I've learned a lot of different ways for dealing with challenges. My second son is neurodivergent, has had self harming behavior, and he's not even in high school yet. And so the challenge there is really about understanding his emotional regulation so that I can help him through and help him have skills and strategies to help himself get through some of these times. And I've said this to friends over the years, and I will continue to say the hardest part about parenting is helping that person learn how to manage their own emotional regulation. And you, as a person, learn about your own regulation and how to keep it calm so that you're supporting others, actually.
Wow, I commend you for that. I commend you for that. Dr. Shar, these experiences, you didn't just survive them, you turned them into fuel. What inspired you to do and to create the Manson Schaefer Foundation and launch the Phillies' first free cord blood donation program? And also, how did challenging your pain into advocacy help you find healing on purpose during these darkest moments?
So I've always been someone who, if there's been a challenge there, it's more of, okay, you lean in, you accept the challenge, you have the feelings, you have the reactions. But because of my background and growing up, I never had the choice to live there and do nothing. And so, as I was growing up, and who was an inspiration to me was my mother. It was always about, okay, this has happened, but then there's got to be a way to look at how to get through. Where's the light at the end of the tunnel? And what about this can I control? Because in every situation, there's a part that's your responsibility as the person, and then there's parts that are out of your control, which are environmental, other people, what have you. And I do observe that a lot of people take the time to really look at what everyone else is doing, or how am I a victim, or how come this is happening to me, versus what part of this in this situation has been of my portion of creation, and how can I work through that? Because if there's no way to create hope for yourself, or no way to say, I want this to be different, and I'm looking at doing this, and this differently, then you will stay really, really stuck in whatever the situation is. And then it will be hard to look at your way through. So I always believe that there's a portion of myself that is a responsible piece in this, whatever is happening. And therefore I have hope of making some change. Because if I can change myself in this situation, then the outcome has to change.
Mhm, mhm. Resilience is often glorified, but behind the scenes, of course, we all know that reality can be mentally and emotionally draining,
Mm.
very much so. What were some of the hidden costs for you, and how does your mental health suffer, and what steps did you take to begin the healing process, even when carrying that load for others?
I had a friend say this to me once, and this is as an older parent, that her inner peace was the most important thing.
Mm,
So she would quit jobs, quit careers, quit people in her life to maintain inner peace. And I always think about that, and it creates this idea of a bit of an inside bubble for me. But when I am in turmoil and the outside is reflecting what I'm feeling on the inside, I do take that moment to understand what's creating my internal chaos, because it is all about inner peace. You can't be happy. You can't help others. You can't put a smile on your face. You can't do any of those things that represent resilience if you yourself are not at peace. And so finding strategies that allow me to do that daily, monthly, weekly, and I think terms like self-care and mental well-being have been overused. And so sometimes people get used to them and they really don't remember the impact of what it's really meaning. But we often normalize as well trauma, that, oh, well, everyone had that and it should be okay. I should get through because everyone's been through that. And so when we normalize things, I think we rob ourselves of a gift of, number one, learning what we need to through the experience, but also learning about ourselves, how we experienced that process, how we got through it, how to remember those strategies so that you can use them again further. And then also leaving yourself in chaos, which means you're not in inner peace.
mm. So, Dr. Charles, let's talk strategy.
Mm.
So whether you were in deep, like in a deep crisis or recovering after chaos, what tools, practices, or mind shifts help you to like rebuild your mental health and your emotional well-being? Um,
Yeah.
and, and what would you say truly made a difference in that journey towards your stability and growth?
Thank you very much. I think when you are so overwhelmed, you don't have the ability to take a minute to have pause. The best thing is to move. Honestly, you got to think of your body as a physically charged entity, and so you're holding trauma experience chaos in the body, every single cell, every single muscle, everything. And so there's not enough credit given to movement. And I don't want to say exercise, because a lot of people say, oh, I can go for a run, I can go boxing. Yeah, those things are great. But to be frank, it's got to be movement from head to toe. You
Mhm.
literally need to shake your cells so that you're discharging that electrical energy to get out of your body. So when you're not able to even think about, oh, I need to journal in my journal, I need to do a meditation, you need to move the body. And so during COVID is a perfect example. A lot of us were experiencing, to a degree, some sort of mental difference. Okay, let's not call it a mental health challenge. People don't want to identify with that, but a mental difference than
Mhm.
your normal. We had to have. None of us have ever experienced that. And so one of the biggest things I observed in community in general is everybody started moving. You had people off their sofas going for walks on the park, people going for 2-hour sessions of walking or exercise that had probably never gotten off their couch in 20 years. And more than anything, so that they didn't have to sit in their house locked up. Now, where I live, it was really, really, really strict, and it stayed locked down for a long time.
Yeah.
And the only way we were allowed out of our house was to exercise or grocery store. So the one thing I started doing was grocery shopping. I never grocery shop before because I would have people help me to do that. My partner would do that, or we would kind of have one often on the kids pick things up coming home from school. I never took the time to go shopping for 2 hours, let's say.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I would do that, and then I would go walk, and I mean, I've exercised before. I do my 20 minutes. I do my, classes in the gym, but this time I really was out in nature, right? Walking for an hour next to the ocean, looking at leaves and trees and grass and all the things, letting the air really feel fresh on my face, because otherwise I had to have a mask on or be in my house and be isolated for another, 23 of 24 hours.
Yeah.
And so motion in general, right? Motion is the potion, and that gets you moving. The other one is, once you've discharged or really brought down the internal energy of chaos, is then taking time to sit down and really write out whatever. It doesn't have to be your feeling. You could repeat the same word 5,000 times, but there is a connection neurologically between your brain and your hand when you're doing an action that allows you to bring forth energies of emotions and thoughts, and you're going to remember things you hadn't even thought of. So
Mhm.
the motion portion turned my chaos into creativity. So I got answers. I got ways to teach and to program. I like, so many things came through to me when I was dialed in with exercise and activity. Then the second one would be journaling. And lastly, for me, I use meditation. So whether you use music, whether you're using breath work, something that allows you to connect internally into your body and allow your body that grace, that time to be respected of what it's doing for you.
Dr. Shara, for anyone listening right now, whether they're struggling with parenting stress, trauma recovery, or just trying to make it through another day, what's one truth, message, or a bit of hope that you would like to leave them with to make them feel supported or strong?
Thank you. As someone who's gone through any one of those experiences, most probably they become the tough mom or the get it through kind of person. No problem. You have a good head on your shoulders. A lot of times, these people, and myself included, you can feel isolated because you don't talk to anyone. You can feel alone because you're like, I'll get through, I'll push through, I'll muster through, but you don't take the time to talk to someone to see who can actually support you. You're the one that's not being supported. And that's a big lesson I've even learned recently with my son. He's had challenges over time and we've gotten through them. But this most recent challenge is one that I had a hard time experiencing, because I realized it feels like a repeat of something. So it's harder for me to understand why it's still happening. But by taking the time to actually speak to someone, and it doesn't have to be a counselor or a therapist, it could be a friend, but you have to let people into your inner world so that you have a fresh pair of eyes, at the very least, a different pair of eyes and a different heart looking at that example, to give you perspective for helping you get tools and strategies to walk through whatever the challenge is.
I love that. So, Dr. Shara, what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming events, anything special going on?
Oh, thank you so much. So as a chiropractor and a practitioner, I help a lot of other wellness practitioners in their practices. And a lot of times, yes, it's helping them with their business and whatnot, but it's actually a lot is a mindset portion, because the wellness health practitioner also needs mental health and
Mm-hmm.
support in wellness as well. So I have a group on Facebook, and we can take a look at the links later. For those of you that are helping others and who are wellness practitioners and wanting to get support for yourself, not only in your business growth, but your own mental health and mental well-being, can join the group there. And there's lots of tips and strategies in there.
Thank you for that. Dr. Shar, is there anything you think that I missed that you'd like to share with the listening audience?
I think you've said it, but I really think it's worth repeating. In every situation, there is a portion that there's hopeful, right? There's hope everywhere. And it's allowing yourself, with whatever strategy you choose when you're coping with something, to get to the point where you can see where the hope is. Right? So when we're on a highway, there's always going to be about 17,000 exits, right? We're trying to get to the airport, let's say, there'll be a ton of exits, but you want to find the exit in your challenge that leads to hope, because that's going to be, number one, what brings you through the challenge. But number two, it's going to change how you experience the challenge. And anyone who's been on this planet for a while will be able to tell you, we all have experiences and traumas and problems in life, but how you get through it is what allows you to learn from it or stay stuck in it.
Mm.
Right. And so if you can't allow yourself to see that there is some hope in this information or challenge that I'm in right now, hope meaning I can get through, but hope that I'm going to get something out of it, whether it's just the learning or whatnot. If there's no hope, people can't move on. People can't progress. And as simple as that sounds, it's really profound, because if you have a challenge and then you search and you ask yourself, okay, where's the part of this that's hopeful? Like, what in this can I learn? When did this can I get out of this? Like, there's something here I can be better for. When you start asking yourself different questions to get a more positive answer, it allows you to get to that hope faster.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Dr. Shara, how can the listening audience get connected with you for services or just for more information?
Thank you. We're on Facebook and on Instagram, and just under Dr. Shara Downey.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Shara, for coming on and being part of the podcast. I really appreciate that. And I hope you come back soon.
Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome. And thank you guys for tuning in into Bombshell 1111 podcast and watching us on YouTube and Facebook. We hope today sparks some inspiration and sets you towards a path of growth. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment down below and a review, because it brings us more content that you guys love. And with that being said, always remember, you are a bomb within your own shell, you guys. Peace, love, and light. Until next time, good night.